Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dream of owning a home or investing in one. Today, I want to speak about tenant screening. See, right now, COVID-19 is among us. The laws have changed. So I think it's more important than ever before to be careful who we choose to be our tenants in our properties. A lot of people, from what I'm seeing, they have misunderstood the law, including our own president. And I believe that many people are actually taking advantage of landlords. So, as a landlord, you really have to be extra careful who you let into your property. A lot of people in a number of states, Texas included, the number of evictions have risen drastically because of what's going on, basically because of the misinterpretation of the law. So I'm going to give you guys some tips. I have been a landlord for 20 plus years. So what I'm about to say is going to blow some people's minds, but I know that I'm right. If you choose to double check with a lawyer, go ahead and do so. As you do know, laws do change, so what I say now may not be so a year or two from now. And if you need a lawyer, I can definitely recommend one to you. Okay? So let me say this. As long as you live, landlord, in a one unit property, the housing laws on tenant selection do not apply to you if your property is for family or under, especially if you have kids. And I say this in particular when it comes to, let's say, evaluating someone who has a criminal record. Because as mentioned in a previous podcast, the laws have changed when it comes to that. Okay? When it comes to who you select to live in your apartment. Next, on the other hand, now, if you have an apartment building or you own more than 3 houses, you do have to conform to the housing laws on tenant selection. Okay? So I'm going to proceed now with what my criteria is. All right. Number one, I only choose people who have a job. I am not into choosing people who are not working. If they don't have to if they do not have a job, then they should be an entrepreneur making some amount of income that will cover the rent that I charge. If they don't have that, then I do not rent to them. It's as simple as that. Now, if they do have a job, what I look for is how long have they been working there and how long have they been working in that field. I ask them that, the second question on the interview. The reason why is because when it's a quote unquote situation where the economy is bad, such as this pandemic, I want to make sure, or I want to feel comfortable enough that this person, if they were to lose the job, they'd be able to get another job without too much time elapsing. Now, I've had some people who were college students, so they weren't on their job that long, and of course, they weren't in the field that long. So I dig in a little bit further and I ask them questions like, have they ever done an internship? Will their parents guarantee them? You understand? And it depends, it's a case by case basis but everybody does not get a year lease because of that particular reason. I've also had some college students where they themselves didn't pay me, but their jobs paid me directly. So I was okay with that. It's really up to you how you want to handle, who you want to choose in this particular situation. But that's basically my objective, and that's basically what I did because of the particular circumstances that were presented to me. Credit. Now, there have been laws recently regarding you not rejecting a person based on credit. They claim that it's a form of discrimination. However, you can still pull credit. And you may want to ask them, if they do have bad credit, what are they going to do to change or improve their credit? I also want to just throw this out there. If someone does have bad credit, sometimes it's not always their fault, because if they were in a fire, for example, they may have lost all of their belongings and had to start over. So that is definitely going to affect their credit. So you may be able to ask. I would definitely say, especially since there's a new law on this, and I haven't changed tenants since the new law has come into effect, I would check with both the realtor and the lawyer to see how to go about proceeding in that particular area. However, there's more criteria that I look at. I mentioned to you before, criminal court. There is a new law also where you can't discriminate against certain criminals. You can discriminate against rapists. You can discriminate against child sex offenders and murderers. However, one thing that I have noticed, because in my Atlanta property, I evaluated someone who did have a criminal record. But when I looked into it further, it was for marijuana. And it was some years ago. Some people that have a criminal record, for whatever reason, they don't wipe it out. They don't go back to have it expunged. And I feel like, if it's something that they did when they were younger, for, in my opinion, a small crime, that's my opinion. It may not be that, it may be a big deal for you. That's okay. And on top of that, if they were to get arrested, they wouldn't be even able to get arrested now, because now in the state, they have actually made that he got arrested and they made marijuana legal. You see, so the criminal court system is just bizarre to me, but this is something that you do have to keep in mind if you are a landlord. And I would definitely, if I see a conviction, I would say don't just dismiss them. Look into it further to find out, what specifically it was that they got arrested for. Okay? Next, the next thing that I look at is housing court. If they've been to housing court, especially for an eviction, that's an issue. I need to find out why. I'm definitely contacting the landlord, the property manager, not just the ones that took them to court, but even previous ones. Because sometimes their current landlord will lie and say, oh, they're a great tenant, even though they know they're a bad tenant. They're just saying that so that the person can get out and move out of their property. You see, now in New York, they have this law now where if you evict someone, if they don't have a place to go, they can still stay on your property. So that's one of the reasons why I go back a bit. And that's why I'll also ask for a canceled check to make sure that whatever was owed was actually paid. Because if it wasn't, there's no way. The other thing you want to check is if the person was a homeowner, whether or not they've ever been foreclosed on, because that's not a good sign either. I know, because unfortunately, I took a chance with someone who was foreclosed upon, and the person is getting on my nerves badly. So, yeah, I would contact the lender again, ask for cancel checks to see if they, eventually paid that lender off or not. If not, then the answer is no. Again, I live in a 3-family, so I don't have to take anybody if I don't want to. And I don't want to take anybody who's been foreclosed on. Simple as that. Next, hobbies. The reason why I ask people about hobbies is because I work at night and I can't have nobody playing music real loud. So if someone's a musician, we're not going to live well together. It's perfectly okay for you to ask that question and to say no. If you know that whatever it is they do is going to disrupt your lifestyle. Okay? Next thing I ask is, do they have pets? Personally, I don't allow pets in my property at all. The floors that I've chosen, the pets can scratch them up real easily. Pets also make noise. So for those of us who are night workers, we can't have noise during the daytime like that. It's okay to have noise at night. We're at work. We're either not at home or, I work from home, so I don't really care if they decide that they're going to blast the music at, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. It doesn't matter. But in the daytime, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I need to sleep. I need my rest. I don't want to hear anything. So I have the right to say no to any tenant that, let's say, plays musical instruments or has pets like dogs who like to bark. That's a no-no. And then lastly, you can also ask if they have kids. Be mindful though, you cannot discriminate as far as you can't sell one tenant that they can have kids and then another one that they can't. If you're going to make your place single, it has to be every single apartment that you own has to have a single resident in it. The other thing is this: if someone does get pregnant, you can't put them out. Well, at least not here in New York City. Double check with your lawyer just in case, but that's as far as I know when it comes to kids as well. So, guys, that's pretty much my criteria as far as how I evaluate my tenants. Some people may have a longer list than I do. I know that there are some landlords that actually visit the previous apartment and they see how the person lives to make sure that they're clean. Sometimes realtors will actually do that for you as well. It's totally up to you how, if you want to take away from what I have on my list or if you want to add to it. Again, because of the situation that we are dealing with right now with COVID-19, I just caution you to be extra careful if you do have an empty space, who it is you're renting to. All right? So I hope this message will help you make smart financial moves. Remember, Feel free to pass this along, share this among your friends, because each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.